to understand the candidate best, what questions are HR or line managers missing out? Like I know there's only a couple of really good ones we can throw in there. Like what are yours?
I would think the predictors of success for me is that you look at all questions in interviews should be grounded in behavior-based questions. So they should be basically start off with, tell me about a time when you did X. Now, the prep is really, really important, okay? You don't ask just generic questions. You can ask a generic question and make it very focused on the candidate. And let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you're hiring for a HR manager, okay? And let's say as an organization, the most important part of that HR manager's role is going to be systems, right? And you see on their CV that they've implemented 3 systems in the past, okay? A classic question to figure out exactly if that person has that ability and how good they are at that scenario is, it'd be like, tell me about a time when you implemented a HR system. What did you do? What was your role in the situation? How did it work? And more importantly, what was the result of it? And I want you to answer that question from the time that you spent in HR Locker. So you're bringing them right back to the actual experience that you're looking for them to exemplify in the future within your organization. Then they'll give you a situation. And the ideal thing from that to make it predictable is that the best answers you can get from them, and you can explain this to them, the best answers I can get from you are the ones that are most recent, that are most like the type of job that we're actually recruiting in here, and also the ones obviously that you were most successful at. And when you ask them that question, they go, okay, so now you zero them into that area of experience that you want to really find out about. Okay. So now you've got it. This was the situation. This is what I did. And this was the result. And you can question around that scenario as much as you want. And they'll feel it'll be very, very hard for them to, and I'm going to go lie or make it up, because you ask them specific things that have happened to them.
Yeah.
So when you bring it back to very, very specific situations, you get really royal data to be able to make decisions on. And it is also okay to turn around, they say, okay, that was a great success. Now, very, very easy add-on question. Tell me about a time when you implemented a system that didn't work. All of a sudden they're going like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Take your time, and it's a conversational scenario, and they will tell you. And if they don't tell you, if they start ifs and buts and we's, bring them back to, well, did that happen in this situation? So you're looking at really core data, not about future orientated, oh, what I would do if blah, 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 blah. No, I want to know what you've done in the past.
Yeah.
To see, can you do this in the future? And whether we can actually then, during the selection process, we can say, okay, Frederica doesn't have this experience, but she's had this experience, which is quite similar. And are we willing to take that risk and develop that person up? And this is why we put adult development at the center of what we do. And exactly what Frederica said earlier on, then you're not chasing the purple squirrel that doesn't exist, right? You're being realistic with the candidates that are out there to do the job that you want to do, because you're never going to get a candidate. And if you do, it's happy days. Yay, that's 150% fit. And if they're 150% fit for your job, then you have to say, well, why do they want to come and work here?
Or how are you going to retain them?
Yeah, and they're not going to learn anything. Yeah. So are they just jumping job to job to job, from money to money to money? And getting back to the marriage thing, like I look at candidates, and if they've spent less than 2 years in every particular company, there's something wrong. There is something wrong, either within themselves or within their career or within the marketplace, because it may not necessarily be them. Because the marketplace, the amount of times I hear people saying, oh, you shouldn't spend any more than 2 years in any one company. What's all that about?
Yeah. And then you have other people saying the complete opposite. You have to spend a minimum of 2 years in every company. So it's difficult because, I've spoken to so many candidates, and you're there a lot of job hopping. We all know that word. And they just haven't settled. They haven't been happy. And then you do look at it. Was that candidate interviewed properly? Were they the right fit, or were they just taken on because someone didn't understand who or what they were interviewing for?
And at a time when there's a shortage of talent, And I'm not so sure if there's a shortage of talent anymore. I think it's situations where companies aren't advertising appropriately, they're not resourcing appropriately, and there's so many jobs out there, right? And people aren't deciding what they want to do either, or the type of companies they want to work with. And I think if you read the research that, you know, the younger candidates, if you want to call it that, the ones who are coming out who are going to develop the future wrong, you know, you hear people saying, oh, they want to work with companies who are into sustainability and want to have a purpose and all that. I hope that's the